Hello, hello. Welcome back to The Alcohol Experiment by Annie Grace. Read to you by me, Melissa O'Malley. Today's day 25. We're almost to the end. I can't believe it. The chapter for today is called Setbacks and the Way Forward. And we always start with a quote. Today's is said by Albert Einstein. It says, "You never fail until you stop trying." Occasionally, I get messages from people who have used my book, This Naked Mind, to stop drinking and then, after a little while, have started again. Sometimes it's triggered by a traumatic event like a death in the family. Sometimes it creeps up on them slowly. They figure they can handle themselves for one night, but then one night of drinking turns into a week and then into a month. At some point, they recognize they're no longer in control. If you make a decision to stop drinking beyond this 30-day experiment and you end up slipping, it's important that you relax and don't beat yourself up. It doesn't mean that you're an incurable addict or a bad person. It certainly doesn't mean that you're beyond hope. All it means is that you're human. People get to the end of the 30-day experiment and they're full of excitement. They feel empowered, like a light came on in their brains, and they can suddenly see the truth. But we all live in the real world, and the real world is full of pro drinking messages. Alcohol advertising is everywhere. Our friends might pressure us to drink, even though they know we don't want to. You might think you're immune to this kind of pressure, but it's relentless. Your perspective is forever changed. The beautiful thing is that by reading the daily lessons and going through the exercises, you've learned a skill. You understand cognitive dissonance and now how to resolve it without resorting to numbing out. You have the tools and you know how to use them. That's such good news. When I first started to question my drinking, it took almost a year of education and exploration before I finally resolved my dissonance for good. And for all I know, I may have to do it again in the future. At the moment, I feel like I'll never touch another drink. I just don't have a desire for it anymore. But I'm well aware that no one is immune and the desire could come back. I doubt it will, but if it does, I know what to do. Reframe mistakes as necessary experience. I live in Colorado and we get a lot of snow in the winter. Driving on snow takes a special skill. You need to turn on your four-wheel drive. You need to slow down and allow extra time to get to your destination. But sure as anything, when the first snowfall of the season hits, people drive like idiots because they've forgotten what it feels like to lose control of their vehicle, even for a few seconds. Cars and trucks slide off the road, and the night sky is lit up with red and blue lights from police cars trying to rescue stranded motorists. It's like everyone gets amnesia between April and October. Once the next snowfall comes, we remember. We're more cautious. We learn from our mistakes. Regaining control of your drinking might take a few tries. You might feel like you've got a handle on it, and then suddenly you're right back where you started. Don't blame yourself or beat yourself up. Forgive yourself and learn from the experience. Go back to your lists from day one and say, okay, what needs to happen from here so I can regain control? I believe it gets easier every time you do it because your subconscious mind has more control over your behavior than the alcohol does. Every time you go back and repeat the abstinence period, you are subconsciously reinforcing your desire to stay in control. When your subconscious and your conscious mind are in harmony, you are back in the driver's seat. Today, remember that as long as you're alive, you'll never run out of chances to regain control of your life. The only way to fail at this is to give up and stop trying. Day 25, journal questions. Remember, all the wisdom you seek is actually inside you. The most important words in this experiment are the ones you tell yourself. Take some time to answer these questions in a journal, a voice memo to yourself, or simply by speaking the answers out loud for only you to hear. 1. Consider failure. Think about the concept that the only way to fail at this is to stop trying. That as long as you approach setbacks with compassion and understanding and a renewed desire to find your personal freedom, there is no failure. What does this mean to you? What commitments are you willing to make to yourself to ensure that your failures become stepping stones toward where you want to truly be? 2. A letter to your past self. Take some time and write a letter to your past self, the self that was nervous just before day one of the alcohol experiment. Talk about how you feel today, what your biggest aha moments have been, and what your hopes are for the future. Tell yourself anything you wish you would have known before you started. Be honest, there are no right or wrong things to say. That's day 25. Tomorrow's day 26. The chapter is titled Liberation versus Fixation. So I will see you then.